Humans are the most successful species on the planet, so successful that we've become too big for it. We're using up our planet's wealth to feed our economies and depleting the resources we depend on. This is ecological overshoot. Global Footprint Network advances sustainability through the use of the ecological footprint, a resource accounting system that compares how much nature we use and how much we have. Without ecological footprint accounts, countries and cities face increasing risks and are losing precious opportunities to protect their economic stability. Ecological footprint accounting, which Dr. Matthijs Wackernagel developed in 1990 with Bill Rees, is unique in providing an ecological balance sheet that can enable a world where all people can thrive within the means of one planet. Economies must work with rather than against nature if we want to succeed. This means we need to make resource limits central to decision making. This is why we work with national governments. We want to see significant shift in public and private investments away from traditional development towards sustainability investments. This is not easy to do, as many nations are liquidating their natural wealth for short-term gains. But what is the true cost of those practices, economically, socially, and environmentally? Many nations have formally adopted the footprint. Our next goal is to have another 50 organizations adopt the footprint within the next 10 years. We need to convince governments that it's in their self-interest to adopt footprint accounting. They don't need to wait for a global agreement. It may never happen, and we can't afford to wait. Countries can do something now, and they already are. What sets Global Footprint Network apart from other resource indicators is that we have the national footprint accounts. These accounts are our core data set. They are our intellectual backbone. We track the ecological footprint and biocapacity of the world and individual countries since 1961. This identifies resource trends. It helps countries see where their trigger points are. What makes our organization effective is that we are based on data. We are not based on a theory or a moral obligation. We are based on science. We show the physical limitations to our Earth, and we provide governments with the tools they need so that they can provide a better future for their countries and their populations. We need to convince national governments that there are long-term benefits to managing and tracking their resources. We need to get them beyond looking at the short-term gains of liquidating their natural assets. Ultimately, we want to see sustainable investments. We're already engaged with national governments around the world, and we conduct internal assessments to see where we are with each. Our success has grown now to international agencies, including UN agencies, the World Bank, the European Union, and ASEAN in Asia. We want to see these engagements grow, both with governments and with international agencies. When we engage with national governments, we build in-country capacity. That means by the time we're done working with these governments, they have the ability to calculate their own footprint, their own biocapacity on their own in perpetuity. So for generations to come, they can use footprint data to use their own policies and investments. Global Footprint Network is often accused of being anti-development or anti-trade, and this is quite the opposite. We want countries to succeed economically and socially, but this cannot happen as long as we are in ecological overshoot, and we have been since the 1970s. We must turn resource trends around if countries are to succeed economically and if their populations are to lead better lives. Global Footprint Network has succeeded in almost accomplishing the impossible. The word sustainability is almost like the flavor of the month, but it is also a political taboo. A lot of governments think that sustainability comes at the expense of their economies, and they don't want to touch it. So the fact that we've been able to convince national governments that it is in their self-interest to adopt this tool is remarkable, because this is changing a mindset that has been entrenched in governments for decades and decades. We're working directly with large organizations such as the World Wildlife Fund, the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, and UN agencies. And Ecuador has vowed to reduce its ecological footprint as part of its national goal. And in the Philippines, we are working directly with the Office of the President. These are just a few examples of the many governments we're engaged with. Accepting ecological limits asks us to change our economic operating system. Nobody likes to change their operating system. How can an organization the size of Global Footprint Network have the audacity to change economies' operating systems? Can Global Footprint Network truly make a meaningful impact? The answer is yes, we can. More and more mainstream organizations are recognizing our footprint data. We have been able to convince nations to verify our numbers. That's an important step toward acknowledging that our footprint accounts do represent reality. There are so many countries we want to engage with. We have a proof of concept, but now we need to scale it up. This means more senior staff in our organization and more robust science so that we can be peers to international institutions and national governments. We have seen that many governments and international institutions are interested in what we offer. However, without more resources, we are losing crucial opportunities. We could be more influential with national governments, in the international development world, and at international gatherings with more staff. We've laid a strong foundation through raising awareness. Pick up an airline magazine and you will likely find reference to ecological footprint, or environmental footprint, or carbon footprint. But with your help, we can make a true global impact by increasing our staff, improving our methodology, and making our national footprint accounts more robust. The world is counting on them. Join us in creating a world where we can all live within the means of one planet.